Here we are. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, the channel host and admin here, and I've got Dan with me today. We both stayed up until the early hours of yesterday morning to watch Everton ultimately lose 4-0 away at Minnesota. And Dan, I don't know if you saw my tweet a few hours before the game. It was, if you think that'd be stupid enough to wait up to watch this hopeless Everton side at 1 in the morning, you'd be absolutely correct. And we
I
did
did
it.
see it, yeah.
And you've got to laugh because you would just cry, wouldn't you? It's that bad. I mean, even your face is saying it all, Dan. You know, you're one of the most optimistic Evertonians there is in your very cute Everton top with the vintage Everton top. But there's nothing. You're feeling it, aren't you, today? I can tell.
Yeah, it's draining, isn't it? It is draining. I feel drained. I really do. That's literally the combination of staying up to watch that game and that performance and waking up with that performance and waking up tired as well. It's just completely drained me. I don't want to ever do these American games again. It's put me off them. It's like shattered.
Mm.
And then you go on your Everton Twitters this morning and it's massively, massively toxic. Everyone's arguing. It's like a bloodbath Twitter this morning. So it's not good times, even though it's a friendly. It's like scary times for Everton, I think.
Yeah, Dan, let's
Even
be honest here. Although people say it's a friendly game, the players take it very seriously. It's highly competitive. I'm not having any excuse that it's just a friendly. The players treat it very seriously. And if you actually look around, I remember I saw a little bit of the clip of the Man City friendly yesterday. They played in America as well. And Jack Grealish losing his marbles over not getting a penalty in a friendly match, that means zero. But the reality is, it's very competitive. Um, it's friendly in terms of the game has nothing at stake. But Everton would have wanted to do a hell of a lot better than they've done in those two games. And I can't honestly sit here, Dan, and say that I'm surprised. It almost appeared yesterday like a continuation of the worst of last season. Your bad mistakes, you got own goals, your penalties, and your general. To be honest with you, at least then last season, I think we could say, well, we've got a chance with the front two we've got. I'm not sure we've got a chance now because I don't really see where the goal threat is. It's almost like we're waiting for a little bit of magic or something to happen out of the blue. And it's concerning, isn't it, Dan? I mean, even the most positive Evertonian on the planet must be worried now.
Yeah, well, I just feel let down. Like I seen Lampard, he looked like he was let down by those players. I feel the same because I've massively believed and hyped in these players when they probably didn't deserve it because they've let me down a lot. But I said to you and on the channel, fresh start, fresh start,
Mm.
fresh start. So I gave them a fresh start. But then I'm seeing what I seen last season again already, and people are saying, "Oh, it's only a preseason match." But the fact is, I could see that they was trying. Like you look at the tackles we was putting in, Ali was putting in. We was massively trying. We wasn't treating it like just a
Yeah,
friendly match. We was putting 100% in and
there was
getting battered.
intensity there.
Yeah,
There was intensity there. You could argue the second half against Arsenal, Dan, that there wasn't any intensity whatsoever from either team. But certainly in the first half against Arsenal and throughout that 90 minutes in Minnesota, we looked like we wanted to do things. And I'm not sure we're fit. I can understand Lampard is trying to get them playing, you'd agree, with more tempo, and there was certainly a bit more speed about what they were doing, but ultimately, no end product. And we said last night, on our private discussion, a reluctance for the forward players, when they actually get into the kind of final third to do anything. It's almost like they pass the buck. Decore responsible for that, and Calvert Lewin, and it's almost like the scared of trying to make something happen, Dan. And you have to take risks. One thing I'd like to see is take a little bit more risk in the market because I think there's quite a few Minnesota players who would get in our team. So there must be players around the world globally who would improve us. You can't honestly sit there and say there wouldn't be. So I'd
no,
like to see a little bit more of a risk now with the market instead of just trying to chase the names that clubs with more finances and more attractive positions at the moment are going to be going for.
I
What would you
definitely
say to
agree
that?
with you. I don't know if you heard me say that last night. You've got to put a lot more names in the hat. You can't just like have a small group of players that you want because basically that team that we played last night battered our players and we had a strong team out. They battered our players. This wasn't a good team. So you could arguably say that their players was better than ours. So if we're looking at new players to come in and their players was better than ours, then like you just said, their players could actually walk into our team. Their attackers was better than our attackers. They had more chances than us. They looked more dangerous than us. How can a team like that be better than us? It was an absolute joke.
I describe Everton at the moment as hopeless, and I sit here quite emotionless because I accept it now. I think we probably lose that form, or we'll struggle again because any well-drilled outfit understands you've got a slow back time, and I really could pick holes in everything down. But Patterson was really poor. Won't come into possession. Didn't have any defensive work. Michael Keane, Michael Keane, Michael Keane doing Michael Keane things with the own goal, with the silly mistakes as well. He's one that nearly led to a goal. Michaelenko looking a little bit anonymous, afraid almost. I don't really know what he does going forward, Michaelenko. And then you've got a midfield there with very little defensive awareness. You know, there's no out and out number 6. There's no one there who reads where to be to cover the positions in that midfield. And Tom Davis again being trusted. They say they can't hear me. Can you hear me, Dan?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can they hear you? At one point, I couldn't hear you. I don't know if you've come back in. That's why I switched myself out of it. I thought it was mine. You went quiet while you was talking. I can hear you now. Can they hear you now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
Sorry,
a patch.
What I was saying, I'm not. It sounds negative, but it's factual. You look at the defense. We've got a slow defense. We've got fullbacks who are very inexperienced, and Nkunku. He's got no defensive awareness whatsoever about him. He can't defend. Patterson, I think Stanley Mills, who's a right winger, looked better at right back than Patterson when we saw him. The two defenders, obviously Michael Keane. It's been 5 years of Michael Keane doing these things. You know, when are we going to learn? And in midfield, really, there's no one who understands the position defensively of where you need to be to stop the attacks from developing into serious threats, which is what was happening yesterday. They were just getting straight onto a back line, moving us around and exploiting the space. And there's no one in that midfield. And then going forward, you've got Demarai Gray, who goes missing for 20, 30 minutes in matches, doesn't do anything. Gordon, yes, he's a young boy. He's wearing the number 10. There's a fear to criticise him, but if you're looking at it objectively, there's no end product there. And Calvert-Lewin as well, looking a little bit isolated. And there's times where Calvert-Lewin annoys me, where you think he could drive through. There's so much space, and then he kind of check back and play it out wide. And it's almost like, well, what are you waiting for? And then you've got Decore in there, who also, he's clearly got ability, but it's not of an offensive nature, is it? It's you feel like he'd be best. Feel like he'd be best sweeping up with his energy and work rate. So I'm struggling to look for positives, and I also fear, Dan, that with one injury to say Calvert-Lewin and another injury to Decore or Pickford or Tarkowski, we'd be in real trouble. And I think in the comments, you know, you've got people who are agreeing with this. Stevie saying this is a total disgrace.
Agree.
Dave is saying, go on about friendlies, about fitness, but results breed confidence. Dave is spot on there. And Barry is saying he couldn't believe it. We're in deep shit.
No.
Yes, the result means nothing,
bad.
Dan, but if this is a precedence for the season ahead, we're going to be sat here 38 plus games saying the same things and feeling depressed, because I'm starting to feel a little bit low about the season already with 2 weeks to go.
No, it is scary. Like you do get to the point now where you think we have got to bring players in, which is scary. You shouldn't have to think like that we need players in to be good, because some of these players just ain't good enough for me. You do need to move someone. I honestly, like you say, you go for the defence. I don't know what Decore had a nightmare. You touched on him then. He doesn't close down. He didn't close down. They look lost. The midfield, we've got no creative midfielders. You think back to Arteta and stuff like that. You felt like they could create you a chance. Morelos could put a player in.
We had players that would play on the wing that wouldn't be out and out wingers, that would allow the fullbacks to come forward and bomb on and provide the width. And the inside, and those wingers, inverted wingers, whatever you want to call them, they would control the play Arteta, Osman, Pienaar, and even to an extent De La Feu and Morales do a little bit more control over what's going on in the build-up. I feel like Damari Gray and Gordon, they're just there for the little bit of magic. They're
But
not there for the build-up.
let's have it out now though, because I'm frustrated. I really am, and I'm on the verge where I want the day to end because I can't be arsed with Everton at the minute. They've really done my head in today. So how do you, me to you, what do we do? How do we sort this out? Because we're in this mess. We can moan about it and we can moan about it. But seriously, what do we need to do to make
They
them
aren't coachable.
not to make them incredible? What do we need to do to make them a team that are going to be half decent this season? Because they look like a relegation team at the minute. What do you think we need to do? Who do we need to bring in? What's the answer?
If I was being objective and pragmatic, which I always try and be, these players aren't going to be coachable into a side that builds up possession and plays fast, free-flowing football. If you actually look at what Lampard wants, he says, I want aggressive, I want fast play, I want a high press, I want dynamism, I want us to be able to go long, but also control games and play through the lines. This group, that's not happening. You could argue the only player that you would have thought would be good at that would be Andre Gomez, and he's likely to leave. He's been a disappointment since his permanent move. And so I don't think we've got the personnel to do what Lampard wants. I think we've got very poor players in a lot of positions. And Kunku, if he's the backup left back, I am worried. Rondon up front, if that's the backup striker, I'm extremely concerned. I think I had more touches than Rondon last night, and I was sat in my bedroom. So, you know, I'm particularly worried. And you ask about what we can do with this team. Let's be realistic here. This team is only going to do anything next season if we just play a low block and really just hope for the best, and we can get Gray and Gordon winning one-on-one and try and get some set pieces. That's it. That is all this group are capable for. He can try and turn them in 2 weeks into this team that's going to be turning teams over and that, running the back foot and playing through the channels, wing play. There's nothing. There's no wing play. We're not good at set pieces, and we don't have a creative build. So in the short term, I think we have to revert back to that type next season. David, by the way, if you're watching, please can you drop? He's playing football with me in 15 minutes anyway, so he can't come on. Steve, is this my brother? If this is my brother, Stevie Grant, please can you come on the stream and take over so we can keep it going in a bit longer? But the point I'm making is it's all about the window, Dan. I'm not convinced that any manager can get results with this group. I know this isn't what people are going to want to hear. When you've got centre halves that don't want to head a ball, fullbacks that have got no defensive awareness and that are afraid to cross the halfway line, and midfielders who don't turn up week in, week out, and no defensive solidity, then what can you say other than we have to go into the market? Now, in the market, I would say there must be players in Europe and around the world that would improve us because we're shit. That's the ultimate. Ultimately, that's what it is. We're not very good. You saying it last night. We're shit. We're crap. We're everything that you described last night when we were speaking. Not good at football. So there are players in all the leagues around the world that will improve us. Some are going to be more risky than others. Yes, we need low risk. We were not going to be able to compete with Arsenal for Zinchenko. We were not going to be able to compete with West Ham for Breuer in these positions at this time. So we have to look at how we can bring in names that probably other teams are taking a pass at, but that would improve us. Forward players. I'll tell you what positions are the most important, but forward players, because we don't look like scoring any goals. How can we get them in when how can we bring them in with no money? Well, we can offer big sums for players, but structure the deals in a way that maybe we're only playing a small amount up front, a small amount guaranteed on appearances, and more when they hit goals and assists, for forward players. So we might go to a league. I'm just giving you an example. Portugal, Turkey, whatever. The players are desperate to come to the Premier League. They would improve us, but we don't have the money. Can we give you this much up front? Can we give you next season this much? And we have to try for those deals because the Premier League teams have got money. So they're not tolerating you going to Zinchenko and saying, I'll give you 3 million now and 3 million each season for the next 25 seasons. It's not going to happen. So maybe the lesser leagues which aren't as rich, where the players are just desperate to come to the Premier League, that's where we need to be looking at. But there's a fear to do that. What are the scouts doing? And finally, the positions we need to really address. We need a number 6. We need a defensive midfielder with legs and energy. We need a flexible forward to replace Richarlison. I think we need a creative midfielder who can take set pieces, take the penalties, who is not afraid to get on the ball and dictate play and can pop up in pockets and different areas of the pitch, play in between the lines, receive the ball from the back four as well. And also, I'd argue now that we haven't got one decent centre-half apart from Tarkowski, and that a left-footed centre-back is the absolute priority. Godfrey and Holgate and Mina, all of them look atrocious. Well, they certainly did last night. So, yeah, that's a long-winded answer to your question. And I'd fire that back out at you, Dan, and say, would there be anything different you could say to that?
It's just, do you believe that we can do all that, though? Like, it's just, what can we do within our budget or within what we've got? Do you believe what you said, we can actually do all of that, though? Because I agree with you, we need all of that, but maybe we're going to have to sacrifice just to doing a few of those things until we can actually do more later on, because it doesn't seem that the pot's that big. Would you take, I know we've laughed about it, would you take Winks or Gilmore?
No, because I think quality is better over quantity. And I think when you get to that stage, I would rather have Stanley Mills and Lewis Warrington in the team. I'm not saying they're going to be the answer. I don't think Warrington's got quite a lot of pace. And pace is something you're born with. You can't really work on that too much. Mills obviously looks like he could be talented. There was some spells yesterday where I thought, who is this kid? He's phenomenal. But I'm not confident we'll bring in the players before Chelsea. In fact, I'm certain of it. I think we'll be scraping around deals towards the end of the window, September, once other clubs have bought the players they want. And that's because we can't compete financially with them. We can't attract the players. I think, as I've said time and time again, it's wait until Bramley Moore, get into Bramley Moore in a position where we're stable and we can build. But you look at the best teams, Dan, they sign 1 or 2 players a season. They have a stable, solid core, and one player might leave and move on. And then you go, well, we'll replace him and we'll add in this because last season, this player was possibly the weak link. But I look at this and I think we're a bunch of weak links. A bunch of weak links.
After last night, it seems that we need too much. Like you say, normally you buy 2 players each season and you've already got a strong base. We haven't got that strong base. That's what's scary. There was a lot wrong last night. You could take 1 or 2 players not on it, but the whole team wasn't good. Like every single, even, I mean, I massively think Tarkowski is going to be the man, but even he was off it with everyone. Do you know what I mean? The whole team wasn't good, and that's what was scary. I couldn't pick out one good player last night.
The problem, Dan, is, for me, it's fundamentally dysfunctional. So you've got defenders that are only capable playing a low block. And what does that mean? The whole defence is too deep. And then when you've got a midfield that doesn't really have the defensive awareness or the legs as a combination, it creates huge space between the back line and the midfield for teams to exploit and play around, like last night. So you're thinking, we have a defence that's too deep, perhaps. We have a midfield that can't cover that space. And then all that does is create another problem where your strikers or your front 3, like we played with yesterday, are completely isolated. They play as individuals rather than as a combination. And I know that Alex Iwobi tried, but it's in vain a lot of the time in areas where you're not going to create a threat. And Minnesota looks so much more organised, getting people behind the ball in the right times, tracking runners. Yeah, I thought with the 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes, I thought we'd turn them over, I'll be honest, because we looked like we were sharper. We had the bit of possession. We held onto the ball, but ultimately toothless up front. And anytime we made a mistake, it looked like we were going to concede. So the problem is, for me, with this group, it is fundamentally dysfunctional. It's not going to work. If you stick a number 6 in there who reads the game with a bit of energy, you can close those spaces, then that will help with having a slow defence. If you can get Godfrey playing to a top level as a left-sided centre-back, then you can step up a lot further because he adds the pace to cover. You'd hope Patterson, Mills, or whoever's playing right back, and Nkunku or Michaelenka, I don't think they're particularly quick. to be honest. But you'd hope we could play a little bit higher. The problem is because our press isn't that good as well. We're dropping deeper to compensate so we don't get exploited and behind. Dan, I really am struggling for positives, and I hope and I pray that we get players in, because we've talked about it. I'd be all over Conor Gallagher at Chelsea. Come to Everton, we'll play you week in, week out. You'll be our new number 8. You'll be our midfield maestro. Gutted we missed out on Christian Eriksen, because that would have been a huge problem solved. Zinchenko, of course, as well, solves your number 6 issue. And that was the 3 in midfield. I would have said, I'm signing you 3. That's my midfield for next season. And no doubt, I think Everton would have finished in the top 10 as a bare minimum with that, because I think it becomes a functional outlet then. Where actually, because you've got a number 6, you're allowing your number 10 to go forward and create. You're allowing your wingers to be individualistic. Where at the moment, that doesn't work.
But you could have the best attackers in the world, but if you can't get the ball to them, I'm not saying we've got them, but Calvert-Lewin, he hasn't got the service, has he? Like you say, if you had a player like Eriksen that we wanted, feeding him the ball, feeding Gray, Gordon and Calvert-Lewin, then they'd be all right. But they've got no one that's going to look up and put them in. And they know they haven't as well. We haven't got that creative midfielder that we need. I mean, I don't know whether this Gibbs White is going to be the player. I mean, what do you think on him? I don't think we spoke about
Wolves
Gibbs
aren't going to let him go. Wolves aren't going to let him go, and that's the problem. And if that's not happening, we've got to move on quickly. And I know there's 50 people watching. Good evening. I'm afraid this stream's going to be ending in 5 minutes because I've got somewhere to be for 7:30.
What do you think on the? What do you think on the? Obviously, there's going to be a big strike on Saturday. What do you think on that? Do you think that's going to push anything?
No comment.
That is the talk, though, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That there is going to be a strike.
What possibly can change in the space of by having the protests? I mean, I understand the intentions are really good. We need change. It's clear, and they've got a right to voice their opinion in whichever way they feel necessary. I'm not taking a political answer, but if you haven't got the self-awareness to understand, as a club, if they haven't got the self-awareness for me to understand that they are not good enough, with what's going on at the top, with what's happened hasn't been good enough, perhaps, to realize that maybe they need the change because of themselves, because of what they've done. It takes a big person to say, we haven't been good enough, and therefore I'm going to step down. That is what
it's got to be. Like, that's the problem. If someone could kick someone out, it'd be easier. Like, if someone could get rid of someone, you'd be all right. But we're the strike, you're asking people to step down, and it's not going to happen. Bill Kenwright is not going to say, I'm leaving. I'm going to do what's best for Everton, and I'm going to change the board and let other people take over the board. It's just not going to happen, is it? He's going to stay as long as he can until we get in a situation where he's got to be moved on, until the club's sold.
I don't want to give too much of an opinion on individuals, because I'm looking at this collectively. It's been a collective failure. I mean, everyone agrees it's a collective failure what's happened on the footballing side of it. Congratulations with the new stadium. Forever, if Mashiri left tomorrow, I would say thank you so much. You've done a brilliant job getting this stadium development going. But in terms of on the pitch, it's been a failure. There's no way anyone could argue against that.
But all these players that you're talking about,
for the best that they step aside. It's for the best, probably, that they step aside and new people come in. I am awfully sorry, Dan, because I have 50 odd people watching this stream, and I've got loads of comments I'd love to get through. And unless you can log in to StreamYard with my username,
I can't do it yet, can I? I would have done. I would have kept it going and read the comments. So obviously, it's good that we got 50 on. Thanks everyone for coming on. And it is a big day today because a lot of stuff's going wrong. Shame we can't get someone else on with me.
Did Yanndalf say he was free? Because I could give him a call.
You can quickly ask him. I don't know if he's free.
Are you able to hold the fort for 2 minutes then while I call him, and I'll try and get him to log in?
You can try and get him to log in, see if he'll log in. But like I say, I'll have a little rant, but I don't know how to master the comments yet. I'm still learning how to do that, ain't I?
No, you can't bring them up. Yeah, I am sorry, guys, because we'd love to chat with you all night. There's so many fantastic comments, and all our regulars watching: Tim, Brian, David, Eugene, Steve, Dave, and so many others. Thanks for so much. And if you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of Dan for a moment while I just see whether I can bring in Yanndalf.
Moyes wanted to come back a couple of years ago, and we thought we were better than him. Yeah, I agree with that. Complete. I thought the same thing because we got Carlo. We turned our nose at David Moyes because he left us. We do it on a lot of things. We turn our nose on things because we feel like obviously we're frustrated, and that's the reason we do it. We've still got like what's the word? We're still hurt by what's happened. We didn't like that David Moyes left, but we took Carlo and we wanted like the top four. Thought we was probably something that we're not. He probably wasn't the man at the time because the money situation that was going to go ahead with Carlo obviously was really bad. So that comment I find really interesting because I do think to myself personally that if we wouldn't have got Carlo, because I always say to myself, if Carlo Ancelotti would have been better for the first manager for us to have got when Moshiri first came in, that would have been the perfect time for us to have got Carlo Ancelotti, like when we had all the money, because Carlo was the man that players wanted to play for. We learned that when Rodriguez come to us. Like, with a lot of money, Carlo was good, no doubt. But the fact our money was starting to go down and we were starting to get into like a financial mess, I would have rather have brought in David Moyes because I feel he would have dealt with us a lot better going into a bad financial time, as we seen with West Ham. Because look what he's done with West Ham. I mean, West Ham was like worse than they was nearly getting relegated. They was a team that was what we are this season, basically the same. West Ham was down, and David Moyes took over. And look at where he's got them now. Yeah, some people say, "Oh, they're not going to win the Europa League," but at least they got in the Europa League. I would take where they are now. It feels like what we was when we was doing well under Moyes. I definitely would take that. So,
just jumping in there. Sorry, Dan. Yanndalf is coming on to join you in approximately 3 minutes. So you'll have a good chat. He's going to be taking over the stream. I'm still going to be talking, obviously. Unfortunately, I can't be on the camera because you're going to be on hands-free while I'm driving to where I need to be. But I'll just bring up another talking point.
Yeah, it's. I just read in the comments, like you say, Moshiri. Like Ryan's just said, you can't just blame Ken, right? Moshiri as well. I think they've all had a dip. I think they've all made loads of mistakes within the club, and that's the problem. If you've got loads of people coming in and making, even if one mistake can mess a whole lot of things up, but if you've got different people coming in making mistakes, like Moshiri makes a decision, not good, you pay for it. Then Ken Wright makes a decision, not good, you pay for it, and then a manager goes and signs a player. Say Coman brings in some players that wasn't that good, you pay for it again. So you've got a combination of three people there, like that have messed us up, and it just feels like for me now, everything we've done wrong over these years, we're paying for it. That's what it feels. That's what I felt like last night. Like we've got ourselves in a mess where we can't move some players on. And it generally does feel like all the stuff that we've done wrong since Moshiri's come in is hitting us now. It's knocking us down now. And we're paying for it. I didn't watch the game. No, I watched the game, mate. And I think you did well not to watch it. Did we have much ball possession? Well, we had a bit of ball possession. But it was always going nowhere, and basically they was literally down the wings, counter attack. We didn't stop the crosses coming in. We looked awful on set pieces, really, really bad on set pieces. Didn't stop crosses. They just wanted it more. And as Ryan said, it started off that we had a bit of possession the first 20 minutes, and then we could have got a couple of goals, but then they was a little bit worried because they was really poor. If we attacked them, they was really poor. We could have there was a team there that we could have batted because at times Calvert-Lewin just walked through them, but there was that poor that Calvert-Lewin couldn't believe it and ended up running into him. He probably should have scored at the start, but then basically they sniffed that our defense was poor. They sniffed the blood. They probably had one attack and thought, you know what, these ain't that good at defending, and then they scored. And then they thought, right, let's just get at them. We massively built that. Our defence and how poor our defence was built their confidence up to attack. And then they just went for it and absolutely annihilated us, like 4-0. is disgraceful against them, because you've got to remember this is not a good team. Not a good team. Wondering what DCL is thinking. He doesn't look like he's confident for me, Calvert-Lewin, on what you've just said. He really, I think he's trying. I do think he's trying, but strikers need confidence and they need goals. Goals make a big difference for strikers. We've seen strikers when they're on a bad run of not scoring, it lasts for a while because they play off confidence. But very hard for Calvert-Lewin because he's got no service. Who's going to put the ball on his head? We haven't got any. We missed Digney because he used to put the ball on his head. Those assists are not there. Now Rodriguez assists are not there. There's no one that's going to put the ball on his head. Gordon and Gray, they do cross it good sometimes, but it's inconsistent for me. Let's read this comment by Brian. Yeah, it's true. Here he is, Jan. How you doing, mate? How you feeling?
Sorry, and on that bombshell, I'm out.
Yeah, nice speaking to you, Ryan.
Your superior replacement has arrived.
Here he is.
I'll catch you later.
Nice speaking to you, Ryan.
Hello, goodbye. Oh my God, how am I doing? What do you think? I couldn't sleep last night. I watched that. God,
You can read the comments out for me now because I'm awful at reading comments out. But I just said I'm drained. I said at the start of the channel, the combination of staying up to watch that late, that performance as well. So first of all, I'm groggy because I've stayed up that late. I'm groggy because of that performance was awful. And then I wake up with both of those feelings, and I'm like, today, it does affect you. Even my partner says to me, she goes, "You're a bit rattly today. You're in a bad mood." I goes, "Yeah, I am," because that was just disgusting. Like, let down massively.
Natty Coast said should have stayed in the UK and saved money. Now, apparently, I've heard some. Sorry, I've been dealing with a lot of personal stuff like the last week or two. I haven't been. I've just been watching the games and not been on Twitter too much, unfortunately. And it's just madness. I don't know. I watched it and it's just.
That's a good point that you just put up there. Imagine, and I thought this before you just put that up, so I'm glad you put this. Imagine
0 goals.
Imagine if you paid all that money to go and watch your team get battered 4-0. I mean, I seen some Liverpool fans was at the game taking the rip and stuff like that, and they said we paid to go and watch Everton get battered. What an amazing night or morning or whatever you call it. And it's just it was shameful. It really was shameful. I'm not game for this friendly stuff, because if you play football, you should have passion for every game. Every game you play, whether it's in the park or on the pitch, you should have the passion for every game.
Well, like I said, I mean, I think I sent you a message, didn't I, Dan, where I was saying that we didn't have any sort of tenacity. We weren't chasing the ball. There wasn't the kind of drive, and it was just it was ridiculous. Like we were
lazy.
Yeah, lazy. There was no joined up play. I can understand it. I can completely understand if it's about, a series of friendlies and we've got about 4 or 5 over the space of a month and we're there and we're doing training camps and we're trying out the team. But Nkunku and Patterson, and we're giving Gabamin a go, right? But there's no real cohesion. There's no core of a team that we're not playing. And there's no, like, for instance, okay, seeing Gordon try to chase on, seeing some very promising young players, but if they're not playing alongside to have that confidence of, you know what, I had a good 30 minutes or a good half a game there, and I can feel like I can jump off the bench and jump in. No, it's like, what, are we going to do an Aston Villa and play a youth team?
Yeah, like you say, it's just worrying. I mean, I put all the goals. I put a video up of all the goals that we conceded on my Twitter feed, and I analysed the videos of the goals. And the first goal, we'll go through just roughly in our head. We'll go from the first goal. You've got them attacking down our right hand side, so it's our right back, so it's their left hand side and our right back, and then Patterson is running back. Looks like he's shattered running back at the start of the game. Couldn't get back quick enough. Completely caught out. Then Tarkowski comes over to one of their players running down. You can see the ball's going to go to him. Doesn't close him down. All he needs to do is close him down. Don't let him get the cross in. He could have been closed down, but lazy, like I say, You could have stopped him from crossing it in. You've always got to stop them from putting the cross in because you've got to think to yourself, if they put the cross in, you're in trouble. So you want to stop that. So Tarkowski could have stopped that. Don't let him put the cross in. But then the cross comes in. Keane could just kick the ball out for a corner, slides it into his own goal, didn't he? That was the second goal, wasn't it? But this just slides it into his own goal.
Yvonne said Everton will struggle this season. Sorry. Oh, is that? That's a bit of a questionable picture.
What was it?
There we go. Under the auspices of reading a comment, Everton will be lucky to finish 15th. That shameful display. Did you see them last night? Trouble with Walcott is, yeah. I hope Frank doesn't walk because his hands are tied behind his back. Well, I mean, I think, I don't know, we definitely need something. The trouble is we're lumping the ball forward. It was the same as last season. And there's no, I was quite surprised that I was that pleased with Gabamin. I think he played really well, finding the space and being incisive moving forward. The only trouble is there's nothing heavyweight alongside him. There's nobody, I don't know whether he's the kind of player that what Idrissa Gana Gueye lacked in necessarily physicality. He was tenacious. He was quick at cutting out the passes and sticking his foot in and finding a decent pass. Amazing. What do you? I mean, I said in the message, we miss him. Or up front Traore, the strength, and maybe someone else in midfield, because there doesn't seem to be that. No. I didn't think you did, Yvonne. Sorry, Yvonne said don't support Liverpool. By the way, it's I know I completely get it. We're trying to be honest. Even Mr. Positive here has had a bit of a. Yeah,
I always try and be as positive as I can, but when you get that chucked in your face, it knocks you down a little bit, doesn't it? Because even if you listen to, you're on about me being positive, even if you listen to Lampard in that interview and you look at Lampard's body language during that game, he wasn't happy. And he was like massively let down himself. His body language on the sideline was just quiet, just wanted the game to finish himself. It wasn't good. And he even said at the end of the game, he said, I tried the four at the back to see if we could play the four at the back, and this is what happened. So basically, this is why he wasn't playing the four at the back, because he doesn't trust the four. He thought this would happen to him. That's what I got from that. Anyway, do you feel the same?
Absolutely. I said in the message that we might have signed Tarkowski, but where was that solid defence? Where was a defensive, the pairing of the centre backs? Yeah, David and Eugene. Eugene, as always, big shout out. Thank you for joining us, Eugene. Delhi missed an open goal, literally 2 yards out. I don't think he expected the ball to come to him, but it just hit his foot and sort of poof, went miles away.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say it come off a player, it was deflected, so he's got a reason that he could have missed it. But the good players still knock them in. Do you know what I mean? They still find the back of the net when they're in form. You find a way. You're used to the ball getting deflected. Goal scorers just knock the ball in. You don't know how they do it sometimes, but they do it. You've got to be clinical. You should have scored.
Again, it raises the question, is it down to confidence? But it's not just confidence in yourself. It's confidence that everyone's pulling in the same direction. But what I was pleased to see...
Come on. Give me something.
Okay. What I was pleased to see, which was completely different from the entirety of last season, was we were actually playing some joined up, incisive football and give and go and moving on and 1-2. And it wasn't just like balls to feet, moving along a back line, being static. Almost watching the back four push forward and go, okay, well, the ball's just going to ping along the back until we find someone in a bit of space, and then they're just going to close them down, and it goes back to the back four. At least there was some incisive play. I mean, Price, who was that young lad?
Warrington, Price, and Mills come on second half.
Yeah.
I thought Mills was good, but he changed it too much for me second half. Like, where there's just too many players that are trying to prove themselves. You can't get into the game. You've got to have that balance of playing a couple of these young kids that are trying to prove themselves with players that are already proven, and then the young kids can just excel. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have that balance, putting them all in together. It's like you've got Dobbin come on as well. So you've got Dobbin, Price, Mills, and Warrington come off in the end, but Warrington was on at some point. That they all want to prove themselves, so they're going to do too much and overdo it because they want to show that they can get into the team. You've got to just put a few in, like blend a few in. Say you play 2 of them with the first team players that you're going to play, and then do the same again next game. We just got it wrong. I've got nothing from these 2 games. Absolutely nothing. What about you?
I don't know. I would maybe give me a minute to try and think up something cohesive rather than a string of expletives. Jack the Lad says Moshiri has plans and it's concerning. You can see a half-built stadium. What's happening, bro, says Moshiri, and he's gone quickly. Mark Anderson, the border killing this club was sinking fast. Somebody says something about Ken Wright getting involved in where was it? In signings. I really don't think...
Thanks for these comments. Jan's top notch at reading them out. He'll have them out on the screen. What you think? So keep commenting because I don't know what to say. I'd rather hear what you've got to say as well because I've moaned all day and I feel like I'm all moaned out. So I want to hear what you've got to say as well because we're the fans. We're not a fan. We're the fans. Yeah. We're all together. And I don't like seeing the divide as well because the divide this morning. I said it to Ryan earlier on. The divide on my Twitter, it's like a bloodbath. Honestly, it is like our fans are arguing against each other big time.
What did the away kit look like? To be fair, it's kind of stylish. I know it definitely won't be to everyone's tastes. It was pink with sort of like that blue checkerboardy type cross-hatchy pattern. I don't know. It's all right. But yeah,
it looks better when you're winning it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really care about pink or anything like that. Barry said I'd play the kids rather than these overpaid shite if we went down. To be fair, yeah. And Noel also said the young lads did okay. I think Frank did it because the first half strong team were pathetic. He's quite right. And Robbie said, correct me if I'm wrong, boys, these are millionaire professional footballers. They're all going to get shitting themselves first game against Chelsea in case fans are getting on their backs. He's quite right that I've said this to some people on Facebook, like, make Goodison atmosphere horrible. Well, there's 2 ways of doing that. There's being the boo boys and getting everyone's back, but unfortunately that's just going to get on our players' back. And, sometimes you just lose heart and they're not going to want to play. Or we can get behind the team. And I mean, somebody was saying something about, get horrible, get mean, don't be nice to the away fans, all these kind of things. The trouble is, we can wax lyrical all day long about how there's been an orchestrated, FA corruption campaign against this, VAR unfairness, or the prejudice against the Big Six, not having a penalty at home for 2 seasons. Well, however we behave doesn't change that. And if we make ourselves what they seem to be making us out to be, no one remembers the narrative behind that. I just think we continue doing the right things, and eventually, because then people root for the underdog rather than just proving ourselves to be what everyone claims we are. I don't know.
It wasn't a nice score to pop up there, was it? Like you said, when a lot of people are like out for us a little bit, they've still got that. We're still the relegation team to a lot of people, ain't we? We're still the team that could go down again this season, and to get a score in a friendly that's 4-0 against a team that's a nobody, it makes us look stupid, doesn't it? It really does make us look stupid.
If you can tell it, if you can sort of, it kind of looked like. I mean, somebody said what happened to Alan.
He had a
Barry also asked what's happened to Alan. It's a good question. I didn't see much of the first half. I had trouble signing in, getting my season ticket linked up to my account and all that. But I don't know. It's just we've lost that desire. We've lost that joined up play. We've lost the backbone. Maybe we've been found out with the loss of Richarlison that he was the threat that really kept the opposition stretched and gave us the opportunity to attack. Maybe without him, there's nothing.
I don't like to admit because I've been like move on. Who's Richarlison? But I tweeted today, Richarlison. I missed him last night. You know where a game that makes you wish that you had him. When you come up against a team where you need a player that wants to fight for you, that's going to make the difference. Richarlison sometimes just got that goal, And it's very important to get the first goal, because if you get the first goal, it knocks the other team back, and you can win a game that you end up losing 4-0 just by getting the first goal. And I thought Richarlison, he was just, we ain't replaced him, and we do need to replace him. And he's not an easy player to replace him, because he can score a header from a set piece. He can randomly make a run to create a goal. He can make a run to score a goal. And he gets back and closes players down to get us back in possession. That's a lot of stuff to replace. I know I said we'd be okay without him, but that's a lot of stuff to replace.
I mean, there's the consistency about him. Exactly. Wanderlust has said you can see the hole where he was once. And thanks, Mark, for that question, the comment I showed before. We getting a replacement for Richie. Alan's recovering from a hernia op.
Yes, I just said that. Yeah, I tried to say he had a hernia operation at the end of the season, so they're bringing him back slowly. But he is missed. But it's going to be weird, because you would have liked to have had a pre-season for his fitness and stuff like that. But he obviously hasn't been able to have a good pre-season with him having that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that really there's anything we can say. Okay, the players clearly know how to play football, but if they're just not good enough against an opposition, or there's not the right tactics, or there's sometimes the missing linchpin, you can't drive a car without a steering wheel, or without wheels, or without an engine. And if any of those parts are missing, that's maybe my analogy here, or metaphor. I don't know what you guys think. Please comment on this.
It's a good metaphor. It is a really good metaphor, that is. But we've got no steering wheel, no wheels.
Yeah,
and we ain't got a key to start the car.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, we had a car. We've got a car. We've got an engine. We've got all the parts. We've got everything there. Richie was the turbo on the Ford Eco engines, whatever, that made him actually go like a 2 or a 2.2 litre. He was the turbo that gave us the threat, that made us seem competitive, that got us off the line, that gave us something that other teams, or the teams we play against, will go, huh? And whereas now that's been stripped down, and we're just sort of tootling along. And we need someone like that can consistently get the ball, look and drive forward. I mean, Damari Gray, I've got a lot of faith in him, but I don't think he's the player that can do that in isolation. I don't think that Calvert-Lewin is the kind of player that does it in isolation. Yeah, it's I've got to say, by the way, thank you to everyone joining us. We've got tons of people watching this, loads of people liking, loads of people commenting.
That's good.
David B, all the players back in the UK already. Ozzy and Darren were talking on the commentary on the website. They got a flight last night, middle of the night. And Wanderlust, thank you. Commenting on my drivel. Definitely a missing linchpin. The whole team look like bottlers when it's missing such key pieces. Even those who clearly are fighting look less. It's.
I think it's. I've heard today it's fitness. I think the fitness is there. I think it's football and ability. I really do think it's football and ability. Do you know the things that just come naturally?
Yeah.
Like where they can just get on the ball and make us play football. It should be just simple as playing football. You move it about and you're dangerous. We need a centre midfielder. I'm not saying Sigurdsson was good, because I didn't rate him that much, but you do miss Sigurdsson. We need a midfielder that's going to create stuff.
This is what I've said. Memphis didn't do good at United. I've been saying this. He didn't do good at United because sometimes United need that horrific aggression in a player. And everyone who's saying this about Minnesota, for fuck's sake, and all this kind of stuff, and Toffee should be destroying these part-timers, CHD. I've got to point out that I wasn't necessarily fully aware of. A lot of our players had like a few weeks break, and Minnesota are like fresh because it's mid-season, or they're just off the back of playing competitive and literally having constant training. So, maybe that ties into it. And the fact that we've lost Richarlison, there's that confidence that also the team don't necessarily feel settled because they don't know if anyone's going to come or go. I mean, did you guys see on the news recently, Alan Myers, Christ, has come out, has been quoted in something on a news article saying, oh no, I retract my previous statement. It doesn't look like Everton will be signing anyone, for the next week or so. And
this statement's really... Well, there's a lot going on. I mean, there's a strike. I just said to Ryan earlier on, there's a strike on Saturday. And that's caused a lot of divide, because it's basically the 27 campaign are saying they're doing a strike. And if you're not doing the strike, it's like you should be doing the strike. But yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not arguing with you, Brian. I'm just trying to find positives. I'm like scraping the barrel here.
That's what I was like, though. Do you know what? I go from two people. I go from literally being positive, putting positive things up, believing in them. But last night, it just wasn't good enough. And I was thinking, why am I siding up for this player saying he can be good, he can be good, he can be good, he can be good, when they don't want to put the shift in for me to be good? Like the basic stuff, like closing down, just that extra, like Decore could have closed the player down. He's half-heartedly doing it. You've got to be 100% into it. These players get paid a big wage. And we feel sorry for them and say, oh, they're only people. Yeah, they are only people, but they're getting like 80,000 a week in their bank. Like if they, if they don't,
some of them earn more in a year than a family will in 20 years. And it's appalling to think that, you know, I've spent over 500 quid on a season ticket for the upcoming season. And, you know, I'm never going to stop loving or supporting Everton. But I tell you what, after that performance last night, I went out yesterday and I was wearing an Everton shirt. And after watching that game, I was embarrassed that people saw me wearing our shirt. After how we pissed that away, it was embarrassing.
Do you know what? I felt embarrassed of them as well, big time, because I just knew people would be laughing at us. I really did. And I'm not that bothered about that. But it just, you expect your team to do better. They're representing our badge. They're representing our team. They should want to do better, pre-season friendly or nothing.
Maka, I mean, I've got to say, you know, as an Evertonian, you should know not to hold out hope like that. He turned down a promise last night to watch the Blues and they put in that first half.
You definitely didn't get no action after turning it down, that's for sure, mate. Because you didn't even have a chance. Other than the Dele Alli chance, that was it. That was all the action you got.
What do you reckon? How do you feel about player win the game bonuses? Are they needed? I think the win the game bonus should be earning 100% of your wages, not any bonus.
They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. Players wouldn't do that. It'd be good if it was like get paid how you play, but it would never work. It's too much stuff from what's already going on. Do you know what I mean?
I know it's not Football Manager, like give a bonus for clean sheets and all that kind of stuff.
It'd be hard to get all the statistics down to do that.
Andy Mans, poor defence, usual suspects didn't turn up. Keane blast it in our net again. Yeah, I've got to say, the dodgy penalty, the deflection, own goal, you've got to start to wonder. My granddad used to say, bless him, God rest his soul. Well, it's probably down that way. We're not a lucky club. Oh my God, what's this?
We're cursed.
Lingard signed a 12-month contract at Forest. Am I going to have to go searching the transfer news today? I've been doing some decorating.
Do you know how much for, Jan? Have a guess how much for? How much is he getting paid?
120, 150?
Higher.
Piss off.
Forest are paying him 200 million.
200 grand a week?
200 grand, sorry. 200 grand a week. Sorry, 200 grand. I don't know why I said 2 million because I knew it was 200 grand, but you know what I mean. 200 grand, yeah, a week, Forest are. That's what
you might start calling them the Sheriff of fucking Nottingham or Robin Good. He's fucking stealing from the rich and the poor. Jesus fucking Christ.
West Ham was going to offer 150 and Forest have gone 50 more. They've gone 200. So Forest are paying him 200. So but they probably need him, don't they? They probably need someone like that. He probably will do well. With Brennan Johnson up top, he'll probably do well. It is big money, though, for a team that's coming up, very risky. We've been there, done that. We spent how much on Rodriguez and stuff, and it's biting us in the arse now for paying these big wages. What we got there? Interesting comment there.
Yeah, I'm just reading them, sorry. Noel does point out, never be embarrassed wearing our shirt, mate. And I'm not. It's more just that I was embarrassed for them.
It's embarrassed of the players, not embarrassed of our club. Like Everton are more than those players on the pitch. We know that, and we know that it's more than that because we wear the shirt for the people that frigging did give a shit about Everton. That's what we wear it for. Do you know what I mean? That's how I feel. But They've got to. The fact that we've let players come into our team and play for us, the fact we're letting players put on our shirt that are playing like that, just ain't good enough for me. They have to care more. I'm watching it. I've stayed up till 1 o'clock. I'm shattered, but I've stayed up because I love Everton and I don't want to let them down or miss them. Some people, like you've just said, that guy went to America to watch it. Some people have gone all that way to watch them, and we do that. And you can't put 110% in. It's just not good enough for me.
Well, TalkSport, CHD says, TalkSport says Dele Alli will step up and be a top goal scorer. I tell you what, if he is, I'll take back everything. Like I've got hope for him, and I do see something there because clearly something wasn't going right, something that we're not privy to, and something that maybe the public don't need to know because everyone has a private life. But obviously, we're looking for reasons. And
to be fair, that go back to that saying that you said, the killer saying about the car. What did you say?
Oh, it's like Richarlison was the turbo, and we were a Ford Escort 1 litre, like with that EcoBoost thing that turns it into like a 2.2, and now we've got rid of the turbo, and now we're just sort of being found out among Audis and BMWs.
It's true what you say though. Sometimes missing certain pieces affects everything else around it. We haven't got that centre midfielder, that attack. I mean, we're looking at Gibbs White. He would be a cracking signing, Gibbs White would. He's got a lot of assists under his belt in a not-so-good team, and he's scored goals as well. So he clearly is a creator, because we missed out on Ericsson. So Gibbs White looks like the player that could put the ball on the plate for Calvert-Lewin, Ali. Ali ain't going to feed himself, and he doesn't set people up. I can't remember him being an assister or someone that puts the ball in that much. He's someone that arrives in the box. So we need that creative midfielder, but I just don't know who he is.
Well, I mean, I've seen some promise from the youngsters, but whether they've got the wherewithal, the nous, the knowledge, the footballing ability to, because sometimes the trouble with
this is what's disappointing. Though you should already have players in.
Hang on a second.
Go on.
What's this?
Yeah. Thank you so much. They must like us on the channel. Do you know what I mean? They must like us. Thank you so much for that donation. Do you know what? People can donate on the channel. We're just getting used to it because we've only just signed up for it. But thank you so much, because it helps our channel massively and we can get bigger, because we're still
real?
Like we need to grow. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Like Ryan will be there going, yes, boys, work for me.
We did. Do you know what? Everton lost, but we won. Everton lost, but we won. Thank you so
honestly,
much.
Do you know what, though?
I
always, we don't have, to be fair, we've got a realistic fan base. We're not deluded. We're all part of the Big Blue family. And that, no matter whether we win or lose, I do appreciate, and I appreciate that nearly every fan I've ever spoken to will always have the time to listen and to respond, rather than just come out with, we'll win it, this is our year. Well, we never fucking this
is why it frustrates me that I'm seeing a lot of divide in our fans, though, because we have got the best fans. We really have. And this is why I want things to get sorted, whether the problem is with the board or whether the problem is with the players or the manager. This is why I want things to get sorted. I've got that guy on Twitter, Kevin Cracking Guy. This is why I want to get things to get sorted, because our fans are the best fans. There should be no divide. We should be all together. I mean, look at someone then just come on and donated freaking money for the channel and stuff. Our fans are the best fans. Go on, read Jack's comment. Jack the lad.
The relegation talk started in the media, going to drag on and on. It's going to be another draining season. Not sure if most fans will be so emotionally involved, and that's exactly what Moshiri wants to kill the spirit. I mean, I think Moshiri, honestly, oh God, the TV's just come on. Sorry. I don't think Moshiri necessarily wants to, he wants the club to succeed, and for it to be a positive investment. I think we heard it all in a few exposés here and there where he was talking about where things were being talked about, where he got involved in transfers that he shouldn't have done, because he wanted marquee signings. He wanted to make his mark both as the owner and on the pitch or the team sheet, to force through, to say, look, I want this player, I want that player. And
I think we're just really scared of this window. I think we are really scared of this window because the letters come out saying there's going to be activity at the end of the window. And a lot of people that want to do this strike, I think they're thinking, do something before it's too late. Because if the window finishes and we haven't brought players in and we haven't threatened them to bring players in, we'll be in trouble. So they don't want to do stuff too late. But it's just like, do we trust them? Like some people that ain't doing the strike are just like, they've said we're just trusting that they're going to bring in the players that they've said. And if they don't, then we'll be striking as well. Go on, read it out.
Peter Duggan makes a point that promise from the youngsters, but they haven't been given any chance to prove themselves since Martinez has been manager. They've been poorly developed for years. Now, I don't know whether I think poorly developed is that. I can see what you're saying, Peter. They've not been integrated into a pathway into the first team. I really don't think, and I agree that since Martinez was manager, it's.
I was thinking last night, and I'm not even joking, where Damari Gray started. I would have put Mills up top where Damari Gray was because I feel like Mills can create something because he's an attacking midfielder. I would have liked to have seen him in the number 10 sort of position to just get on the ball because he's confident on the ball, Mills is. He's really confident on the ball. So just put him in that gap. And then he might be the person that could just light up and start creating things for Gordon and Calvert-Lewin and players around him. He could be the missing link. You've got to that's the whole point of the friendly is try him. And when Mills didn't start, I was really frustrated because I want to see what he's got. This is a chance to see, like, if Mills comes forward and is the player you want, you don't need to sign a player like him, do you?
Yeah,
go for it. Read it out.
I mean, ideally, and Wanderlust has just agreed with Everton Rose saying the worry is quite understandable. Exactly. The trouble is, we don't necessarily have any founded faith in youngsters coming through because we haven't had a history. We haven't had any grounding to have that faith in youngsters when they've not been given the chance. And the ones that we have been shipped out. And it's almost like, well, why do they want to play? And obviously having Koeman and Benitez and having a very fractious back room where they got rid of all the training staff, got rid of the medical staff, you got rid of all the faces. It's almost like there's been something's been stripped out of the club, and it's very hard to get it back. When we used to have, I don't know. It's like stripping a car down and not putting the right pieces back together.
What I'm going to say on that, the good thing is that these young kids are getting a chance now. That's one good thing to come out of this bad situation, is that the young kids are getting put in now. We're seeing Warrington, where the young kids normally sit in the academy and they stay in there and they don't learn nothing. They just stay what they are. The amount that they've learned just from this pre-season, getting to play in the first team, it's made them become twice the player just by playing them in the first team. And that's what we need to do more. We need to either loan them out to turn them into men or start pushing them into the first team, because we say that the academy isn't good, but I've seen this pre-season that Mills is good, Warrington is good, Welsh look good. No,
I think the academy's been good. Seeing the young players being involved in at international levels. I
just want to say again, though, if anyone's listening, we've had a few on, like and subscribe. And obviously, the person made a donation for the channel. Just want to thank him again. That's cracking. There is ways that you can donate for the channel. It just helps us to do things and help, because we have to pay for the channel and stuff like that. So it helps us just keep it going, and stuff goes towards us paying towards keeping the channel going. So you can donate, and he did, and that was cracking. And just like and subscribe as well, because that helps us just get the channel a bit bigger and more people listening. We just want to connect with all you fans. I've said it before. Yeah. We love reading your comments out. We love saying your name. We want to connect with you all. We want to get this. We want to get to 2,000 at the end of this season. And the fact is, after last night, nothing has made me more think that we need each other than last night. We need to stick together.
I have to say, John, you kind of got a good point there. But also, I think we talked about it in a previous video, where if we can get players in on loan, if they can demonstrate that they fit into the team, I wouldn't mind necessarily maybe getting them a clause with a loan to buy. But potentially, if we're hamstrung a little bit by financial fair play in this window or this year, until previous expenses have been written off from the previous, or balanced out, then it might well be that we're not necessarily in a position to buy. And if we can secure Premier League football without having to expend money on someone that we don't know, then it's a good point.
This is what frustrates me, though, Jan. There's more than just the Premier League and the top teams that we know. There's loads of teams out there. We could go out and buy loads of players, say in French leagues or Italian leagues, would want to play in the Premier League. It's a big league. They could make a name for themselves. You can sign some of these players for 2-3 million. If we've got a low budget, just go out and buy some of these players that are hungry to prove themselves in the Premier League and that will give their all for Everton. And you can land on some James. You remember David Moyes? He brought in Pienaar. We didn't know who Pienaar was. Some random player didn't know who he was on loan. Bring him in. Oh, my God, what a player he was. And he proved himself every game. But if you don't bring in those players and take a chance, you're not going to get those players. If we didn't take a chance on him loan, we wouldn't know who Pienaar was. Look how classy he was for us.
Well, I mean, it's been a question that's sort of died, an issue that's gone down off the boil. But for years, I was saying, what has happened to our scouts and our scouting? We were buying so many players that Strakwalersi, Velios, Vlasic, Besic, Billy Aledinov, Segundo Castillo, all these ones that were meant to be transformative players. What are you seeing in their game that we're not seeing? Even when you look at videos and you go, okay, they're not like world beaters. What do you expect them to come into the team and suddenly be something that they're not?
I don't think we even look for these players anymore. I used to love that. Do you know because we had a really good scouting system under Moyes. Do you know where they used to bring a player in that you've never heard of? What's he saying?
For every Pienaar, though, there's a Klaus Thompson.
Yeah, good point. That is a good point. It is a bargain hunt. Sometimes you're going to not get what you pay for, ain't you? But I'd rather. This is what I was just going to say. I used to really get excited about getting a player in that could be amazing. Sometimes it'd be crap, but he could be amazing. It was just that excitement of not knowing. It was like Manuel Fernandes when Manuel Fernandes come in, and it was like his name. I just loved his name, Manuel Fernandes. I just kept saying his name. We've got Manuel Fernandes, and then he come in on loan. And you don't know what he's going to be. He could be crap, but it's just exciting not knowing what you're going to get.
I know. I mean, it makes you wonder that with so many automatically eligible players due to nationality, and a lot of them on youth contracts, why don't we take the chance to sign sort of 18, 19-year-olds when they look promising after some performances? For instance, Lille. Or other teams in the French league or Dutch league that have got. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Dutch style of football because their players tend to be more versatile. John, I would much rather forget.
Don't forget Joe. I thought he was going to be amazing. Do you know sometimes when you get a Man City player where you think that cost Man City a lot of money, and if he's cost that much, he's got to be good because back then our record signing was Fellaini. Our record signing was him at 15 million. Then we got Joe that Man City spent loads on. I thought this Brazilian's going to be amazing, but yeah, I forgot about him. What did he put in? Drenthe. They used to say that Drenthe chased pigeons, didn't he? I can remember Gary Lineker saying that he was that fast he could chase pigeons, but he didn't really hit it, did he?
Phil Jones? Please no.
Well, do you know what? We've got enough with Keane making mistakes at the back. Imagine Keane making mistakes and Phil Jones pulling faces at the same time. They'd get some right frigging things on that, wouldn't they? I wouldn't want Phil Jones. I know we got linked with Smalling back in the day as well. I wouldn't want him either.
I think we have to be very careful not to become a laughingstock. We might. I
feel it already.
Sunderland 9 points.
We are borderline because I spoke to a Leeds fan the other day. I had my Everton top on. He had his Leeds top on. And I
Before you do, sorry, Dan, I've got to say, if you're going to talk about they were playing like a relegated team as well, even in our friendlies, there's something I was going to say earlier, that meditation session with Dan and Jan. I've got to say, it was surprising in a friendly to see so many of ours fouling and actually getting yellow cards, or fouling to a standard where there was that kind of aggression. Now, whether it's the hunger because they go, we can play better than this, it's sword swings and roundabouts. It's a double-edged sword. Yeah, it shows that they've got that passion and desire, but also it raises questions about discipline and mentality.
I think they was frustrated that they come on and they was getting a battering before they even started the game as well, because some of these had just come on and there was 3-0 down. But what I was going to say about the Leeds fan is basically, he said when Leeds went down, we was kind of like what you are now. We did so many bad things financially, and we paid for it, and we went down. And this is what worries me about Everton now, is it seems everything we've done since Moshiri's come in is biting us in the arse. It's in our face now. We're paying for it now. We've got away with it, but we're paying for it now. And this is where action needs to take place, because what we was last night, because that team that we played last night, yes, they are halfway through the season. They've played more games, but we should be better than them. They beat us 4-0. They missed 5 or 6 good chances. They could have beat us about 8-0. I'm not even joking. They was in our box loads, putting balls in. They hit the post, they hit the crossbar, and they still beat us 4-0. They could have beat us 5-6-0. And to what you've just said, Jan, we have to be careful that this isn't embarrassing, because the Premier League teams are a lot better than what we played last night, and we lost 4-0. And we was getting yellow cards. We was trying. So this is alarm bells ringing for me. We do need to do something, because whether it's bring players, we need to change personnel, because the problem is when things are going wrong, when some players are bad, the bad spreads. And that's what's happening a lot. Like the bad spreads, it spreads to other players. We need to bring other players in now, because we need new people. We need to freshen this Everton thing up, because we was where we was last season for a reason. We went to these away games and we got battered by Southampton, by other teams. We got absolutely battered. And I think you can't just be positive, because we need to just come to where we're at and correct it. Because if you don't correct it, you're going to pay for it. That's how I feel, honestly, because it can be corrected now. It can be sorted now. But we need to accept where we're at. We don't need to say, oh, this is a friendly, it's fine. No, we was in a relegation battle last season, and these friendlies mean a lot to us, and we're trying to be something in this friendly. Well, go on, Jan, read it out. That was a little rant. I'm going to have rants tonight.
No, you're right. You are right, Dan. I'm just going to let you, because I thought you might have carried on. Macca says, don't know what was worse last season, us being crap or the Copites feeling sorry for us. He couldn't handle that again.
Yeah, good point.
Brian says, same old story, just not good enough. Peter has said, annoying that we haven't got a battling midfielder since Garner left. To be honest, he had his flaws too. Just watching him turn was like trying to turn a fucking cow in a field. I mean, you can't have everything.
We do miss him. We miss Garner, because he was good going forward. He was everywhere. He could arrive in the box late, but he did his defensive work. He got back, and he was fast. He was everywhere. I don't think Decore, for me, is nothing like what he was.
John said TalkSport saying Everton have been given the green light to get Gilmore on loan. But yeah, totally take that with a pinch of salt, because they were saying that bloody Gordon was going, and I don't know. They're just a rumour mill.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of rumours now, because we got battered last night. We need players. We've said we're going to get players. So it's just going to create more rumours. Yeah, good point. This is my KFC head. I used to work at KFC, and they gave me this for free.
You mean they provided that as part of your job, and you just
no, it's not. To be fair, it's not from KFC. It's me lads one, but
yeah,
it don't fit my head. But my head's not that big. I can make it bigger, look.
Yeah, Dave said I'd be happy for mid-table mediocrity for the next 2 seasons. We need to stabilise the club and then rebuild gradually. I would. I don't want to see us in. And Brian said we get battered most games, absolutely, and sometimes it's lucky that we get a draw. I'm not asking for us to get, to sign 3 or 4 big marquee superstar, team changing signings and suddenly be competing for European football, which is what my heart wants. But equally, we're just going to be in that sort of repeating cycle of overspending, not being able to spend, while other teams gradually, consolidate and improve their position and standing. I mean, look at. Do
you know what scares me, Jan? Do you know what really, really scares me? This these two games, we've tried to play football. We know we can be rugged like we did to stay up, like sit back, which is boring. Sit back and counter-attack every now and again and catch a team out. Sometimes you can do it, but it's not nice to just give other teams possession all game and hope that you can beat them on a counter-attack. Lampard's tried to get us up to play football, to have possession football. We tried twice. We can't play football. We generally can't play football. We can't pass the ball in a way to get chances to score. That's playing football. Anybody can do that. Even Sunday leagues, like they create chances. We should be able to do that. Why can't we do that? That's what's ringing bells for me. Like generally, why can't we play football? We can't. We can pass the ball in front of their defense, left and right, but we can't put the ball through to Dom or put the ball through to Gordon. We can't create a killer chance. Why can't we do that? And if we can't do that, you need to sort that out quick because we've got no creative midfielder, as I keep pointing out, which needs to be sorted out. I'm going to keep having these rants because I know some of you are feeling the same, probably some of you that are listening, but I do feel that we shouldn't just be happy about the way we was last night. And like I say, I'm tired, I'm groggy. I stayed up.
Are you just not acknowledging that, Dan?
Yeah, I am. I just read it. I just go along with it. I just go along with it.
Okay.
They love me, don't
It's
they?
all right. I've got long hair too.
They love me. If they want to knock me, they love me, don't they? I've got the hair. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just tired and frustrated with that. I stayed up for it as well. Look, there you go. Look, there's a bit of princess hair. Look at that. I look like I haven't slept. I look like I've watched Everton and I haven't slept. I really do. It's hard being an Evertonian at the minute. I tell you something. There you go. Look. This is what happens when you're Evertonians.
I'm sorry to everyone watching. I think we've literally banged that drum to death. We are shite. We need some decent signings. Yeah.
What has happened to us? Like we've turned into cavemen. This is what Everton does to you. It's made us into like cavemen. It's hard being an Everton fan at the minute. It really is hard being an Everton fan at the minute.
I've got to say, I know there's.
We look good.
Yeah, I know.
We look good together. I don't care.
There's a rainbow.
We look good.
There's a Rainbow Toffees game this weekend. I'm going to try and get over there if I can, because I believe there's a chance that Paul, who runs the Rainbow Toffees, does amazing work, and also Neville Southall was at the last one. So big shout out to Rainbow Toffees. They had Lecky Legs, Speedo Mick turned up.
Yanni, are you allowed to advertise what you're going to be doing coming up on this channel?
What do you mean, can I? I've got a fucking mouth, Daniel.
Yeah, I know. I just didn't know if we were advertising that you've got what you've got going on because.
The channel?
Yeah, like with the channel, you've got a guest basically. Jan's got a guest, and I just think like what better time to announce it now when all us Evertonians are stressed and are.
Okay, for everyone who's watched this long, thank you. I will just finish saying that Rainbow Toffees, I think, have a game at Marine Park on Sunday. You might want to double check that on their Twitter and Facebook groups. And fingers crossed, if I can get down there, I might get half an hour. So, on the pitch, you might get to watch me. In my day, when I was a bit faster, I used to be a right winger. Now I'm more of a right back. So, maybe I'm a replacement right back.
I wish I could come and play. I'm a left winger, so it'd be like me to you. You on the right wing, me on the left wing.
Right. So, the announcement to all you loyal fellow Evertonians that are watching, thank you again. Like and subscribe. Keep the comments going. Is pretty soon. I'm going to liaise with Dan here. I believe is going to come on as well. We have got the very wonderful, the very dedicated head of health and wellness from Everton and the community, Mr. Johnny Garside, who is going to come on. And discuss, health, mental health. Talking about being proactive and reactive. Mark Anderson just said, "Jesus, I look like James Hetfield." I have had that for years.
He likes that. You like that, don't you?
I've even had a young Tom Waits. But yeah, no. So Johnny Garside, very wonderful, lovely chap who's going to come from Everton in the community, and he's going to come on here. We'll schedule it well in advance. It's going to be more. It's obviously be informal, but we're going to be, discussing what Everton in the community do, how we can help fans and everyone in the sort of area in Merseyside, all the other stuff that you do for health and wellness, about being proactive for yourself, your mates, your family, colleagues, and just obviously questions there. So what we'll start doing is start getting tweets out and having some questions there, and seeing if we can field some of your questions, to get for Johnny to answer, and we'll have some sort of back and forth there. He's okayed that with the Everton comms team.
I think that'll be really good, though. Do you know what you've just said? To get it out there and get some questions from other people, because we do stuff to try and help not just ourselves but everyone. It's just like awareness, and so some people will want questions. Like, a question could mean a lot to someone. So if some people put their questions to you and you ask him, then it'll be good. It's just everyone connecting into it.
Right. Yeah, I think that'll be good. We've sort of wandered off. Have you got anything more to add, Dan? Maybe we should...
No, we're shooting it off now. We just, obviously after that game, we've gone on, but we had a few on and we've left it on. But anyone that's come on, if you're still on, like and subscribe. Once again, thank you to the person for...
CHD, big shout out for chipping us the beer tokens. Very, very much appreciated. Always lovely. Thank you.
See you later. We're going to say up the fucking toffee still, because we're still fighters. We ain't giving up. We're tired. We ain't giving up. But we've got to trust that Lampard will sort it out. Very big job, though. Do we knock his wages up after that performance last night?
I mean, is he not on enough? You can probably do it.
He's on enough anyway, but I'm just joking. Whatever job he's got double the job now, hasn't he?
Yeah. So big shout out also. Got to say, obviously, it's something that I am consistently passionate about. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Just be mindful that studies have shown that people with mental health, neurospicy, neurodivergent, experience difficulties with an increase in temperature for every 10 degrees it goes up, etc., etc. There's statistics to show that people experience more difficulties. Just reach out, ask your mates are okay. There's something called, like, was it eggshell fine, all these kind of stuff. People don't want to be a burden, but just even if they don't want to talk about it, just make sure you let them know that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. Got to thank Dan here for being a very wonderful, supportive friend as well. And just to everyone out there,
that's some good information you got there, though. It's true. I think I felt a bit more groggy with the heat going up and stuff like that. You're probably right. It does raise anxiety and stuff like that. You feel more stressed. It's probably true.
Well, people who have depression are more likely to have manic episodes, and after a manic episode, there's a crash, and then it's all becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. People with ADHD find executive dysfunction a lot, and task initiation a lot harder in the hot weather. Anyway, we're going to probably talk about all this.
Yeah, this is why it's going to be good when you get this guy on and you've got conversations going on. A lot of people are going to connect to this. We've just got to advertise it good, because just listening to you then, it's really interesting on the stuff you're saying and giving out. You've got a lot of knowledge on it and stuff like that, and he will have as well. So it's just going to connect with a lot of people more than what you think. I mean, look at Tyson Fury coming out and talking about mental health, and so many people come out after he come out, and it's just good to share things like that. So on that note, we'll leave it. Nice speaking to you all. Thanks for coming on.
Rainbow Toffees, Marine Park on the 24th. Check out their Twitter. Get down to that game in support. Hopefully a lot of the fans will be going to Blackpool in support of Jake Daniels and Everton, obviously. Solidarity. Keeping the beautiful game for everyone. Thank you to everyone. We'll be on as per usual with more developments. Let's just hope we can get on a video pretty soon with more announcements of Everton signings, right?
Yeah. Up the fucking toughest. Now, get some bigger headphones if you want me to get bigger headphones. Up the fucking toughest.
Right. Are we mic dropping this?
Yeah, go on. I can't reach it.
3, 2, 1.
There you go.
Oh.
I was trying to film you. There you go. Safe. See you later.
Safe. See you.